All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, my fellow beauty and barber professionals. I am Tamara Johnson Sheely, Senior Advocate of Politics, Beauty and Barber. I am the president of the concern, Beauty and Barber Professionals. And of course, joining me this afternoon, the one and only, our industry historian herself, Dr. Brenda. How are you, Dr. Brenda?
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. You're up in the great state of Ohio. How y'all doing up there?
You're doing fine. The weather is wonderful. The only thing is, we are rocketing. We're coming back to COVID, increasing cases of COVID. Everybody gets back talking about the weather. Start out, and you still have to mask up. You still have to social distance and can't gather. But our are rising again.
Yeah. Well, we got some great information to share. There are local businesses that are preparing for expiring mask mandates. So I wanted to share this video with our viewers today, and I want people to really see what's happening in the beauty and barber industry across this country. So I'm gonna mute you, Dr. Brenda, and we're gonna listen in to what's going on. And this is Montgomery, Alabama, where the state of Alabama is getting ready to relax its mandates on masks. So let's hear and see what's going on with our industry there. So I'm gonna mute you real quick. Let's mute you and mute myself.
The mask mandate here in Alabama will be expiring on Friday. So how are businesses going to respond to that order ending? Tonight, 12 News reporter Courtney Chandler spoke with one business on what they're going to do to keep their employees and customers safe.
For 3 years, Eddie B's Barbershop has been providing haircuts at this location on Atlanta Highway. But when the COVID-19 pandemic began a year ago, it changed everything for the shop.
It was tough. So we had to do a lot of changes.
Barber chairs were rearranged to provide social distance between barbers, and each chair was sanitized between customers. Each customer is required to wear a mask, and temperatures are checked at the door.
We have to do what we have to do, to keep people coming and make the people feel safe.
Even though the mask mandate is set to expire really soon, this business will keep their masks on, and they plan to have safety measures in place to keep barbers and customers safe.
We're up and close, personal with customers. We do a lot of shaves or razors and stuff like that, so we're just still going to wear our masks and be, just take caution.
They say the mask mandate being lifted is encouraging news, but for now, they have to do everything they can to keep themselves and their customers safe. And that's why, along with wearing a mask, they're also keeping the rest of their safety measures in place. In Montgomery, Courtney Chandler, WSFA 12 News.
And Governor Ivey has said that she will not be changing her mind on the expiration of that mask mandate coming up on the 9th of April on Friday.
Want to save hundreds on your wireless bill?
All right, I'm gonna stop this video if I can. Let's see. 1 second, y'all. This is new technology for me.
No problem. Learn how much you can.
Let's see. There it is. So yeah, Dr. Brenda, this is the mask mandate in Alabama. They are now going to. They're going to. Let me stop sharing my screen. They're going to stop. And let me unmute you. There you go. They're going to stop requiring people to wear their mask. So what are your thoughts in the state of Alabama?
Well, sometimes from the top, they don't make the decisions that are necessary. And so it's going to be up to the individual businesses, personally, individual, that if they want to stay safe, they got to stay masked and social distance and not gather in large. One hasn't gotten the vaccine, one doesn't want to get the vaccine. but you still have to individually make that decision. Are going to make it for their safety and their clients' safety. So they got to do what they feel in their health wise need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, this is going to be a trying time. I don't want us to come out of it too quickly. I think these new procedures are good for us as beauty and barber professionals. We are up close with people. It may not be COVID, it could be tuberculosis. It could be some other airborne, anything. So why not continue these good, healthy safety measures? So I don't think that we should go back to, pre-COVID days with the way we provided services. I think we should continue on with these new standards, with these new safety measures. I don't think it's anything wrong with being too safe. I think Dr. Brenda is frozen. I'm going to I have another video I want to share. Let me see if I can do this again. Let's share my screen. Talking about a Georgetown barber who, this industry has saved a lot of lives. And I think people really take for granted that beauty and barber professionals, we just, oh, you just cut hair or you just do nails. But I don't think a lot of people understand the magnitude of what this industry is for a lot of people. Let me mute this. What this industry is for a lot of people. And a lot of people, this is a lifeline. This is an opportunity when, you don't have the doors opening for you and you don't have a college degree. You might not have, a formal education, but this is a lifeline for a lot of people. So my hat goes off to, I'm gonna move this real quick. I'm gonna have to come back to this one. This technology today has not been my friend. I'm gonna come back to that one because I think that's a very important article about this Georgetown barber. But I want to talk to you and share with you, beauty and barber professionals, about Indiana. Indiana won't require licensing for eyelash extension specialists. This was an article that I found as well, talking about, eyelashes is something that is normally done under our aesthetics licensure. Our estheticians are the ones that actually usually, and a lot of cosmetologists do as well, usually perform these services. This is Indiana. This Hoosier, the lawmakers have decided Indiana will not require licensing for the growing number of eyelash extension specialists operating across the state. This goes on to say eyelash extension specialists will not be obligated to obtain an esthetician or cosmetology license to work in the field, so long as they successfully complete a training course offered by a manufacturer of eyelash extension. So, this is so close to your eyes. You can cause blindness, eye infections that could cause other things to happen in your body. I think it's very important that we look beyond just having beautiful lashes. This is not just about the beauty of it. This is about keeping people safe when they're getting these services. It goes on to say, at the same time, facilities where eyelash extensions made of silk, mink, or other natural or synthetic materials are applied one at a time to a person's natural eyelashes still will be required to meet sanitary and cleanliness standards set by the Indiana Department of Health. So I guess the Department of Health will have jurisdiction over the eyelashes that are applied individually. So I guess they can come in and inspect those facilities, but otherwise it doesn't seem to be any kind of oversight. Goes on to say State Representative Peggy Mayfield, Republican out of Martinsville, the sponsor, said eyelash extension training is not included in the curriculum of esthetician or cosmetology schools. So it doesn't make sense to force a person who wants to work with eyelash extensions to enroll in those programs and obtain a state license. And I get that. You don't, why would you want to go spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a course? Or why would you want to spend that much time on a course that is something that you won't actually, won't be doing any other services for? You just want to do one thing. So I get that part. It goes on to say your license, she goes on to say, your license doesn't actually do anything for you. You'll have to go to the manufacturers to get the training. So they're looking at big business, they're looking at corporations to actually train people to do these services. And Dr. Brenda, I know you can speak to that. I'm gonna read this last little bit, but I know you can speak to that because our industry was, started by manufacturers, and the licensure started with the manufacturers because they recognize, or training, this formal kind of training, they recognize that the products that they were using could, if used incorrectly, could cause liability, could be a lawsuit. So in the last part of this article, it goes on to say, when the beauty culture regulations and other professional licensing rules were written, it did not anticipate the current trend of eyelash extensions. Opponents of the measure suggested more training isn't necessarily a bad thing for individuals working near people's eyes and where an infection potentially could lead to blindness. Exactly. So yeah, Dr. Brenda, you want to speak to some of this article in Indiana with the eyelash technicians not having to have any kind of licensure?
It's a lot. I know Ohio also had that legislation where we were opposing those that wanted to learn eyelash extension, eyebrow suturing, that type of thing that's dealing with something that the estheticians would do. We're having the same problems as well. But what happens with that type of legislation? It crosses over into other things like, without getting a license and not having to obtain the total course, natural hair, braiding. We passed a law where natural hair or braiding was, they wanted to get it under the curriculum, and it was established in 2014. It was established. It was a fight for natural hair and braiding. They re- they uh, they received getting licenses and going to school just to braid. So you can just go to school for natural hair. Now, legislation sponsors are bringing in bills to sponsor that education is not needed for that. Just doing natural hair, they're calling it, and they're using the Institute of Justice as a way to fight legislation saying that it's our ethnicity of African Americans not to acquire the education or the full education as going to beauty school for 1,500 hours, 1,800 hours, whatever is recommended in the state. We're still fighting those types of legislation. They're trying to reduce the hours. So it's getting to a point where they're devaluing the licensure. Licensure, if it's not careful, state boards won't be needed. It's going to be run by corporations on who's going to teach this and who's going to do that and have these hours. And where does health and safety come in? That's where we come in. We are about health and safety. We are the beauty and barber professionals, politics, beauty and barbers, concerned about health and safety. And you're trying to make it a national, state to state requirement of 3 hours in every state. Health and safety is going to come in with these legislations on the eyebrows because it's important to know health and safety. There's diseases, there's all kinds of things concerning this particular bill that these different states are trying to acquire.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to the article with the barber just to kind of shed some light on, like I said, our industry is a lifeline for so many. So let's listen to this, Dr. Brenda. I'm gonna mute your mic and mine.
Prison to business owner, a Georgetown man is celebrating a decade of not just giving haircuts, but also opportunities. KVU's Darrenisha Heron shows us how his clippers and his scissors saved his life.
Getting a fresh cut at Papa Frank's Barbershop is about more than just looking good. It's about camaraderie.
Yeah, he's a regular. He's in here every week.
And feeling good, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Owner Nick Shanklin is celebrating the shop's 10th anniversary, a day he never thought would happen.
I did about 10 calendar years in prison over probably about 3-4 visits. So, yeah, at one point it was just like, I got to do something better. My kids deserve better. And this going in and out of jail and living life like this is, it's for the birds.
That transition from prisoner to business owner wasn't easy, but Shanklin says for him, it was the only choice.
Being a barber basically saved my life. I can say that now. I've seen so many of my friends that have died and overdosed, and they're in jail and prison.
The 41-year-old doesn't shy away from his story, but instead he uses it to uplift others by starting Stretch, a youth program geared to helping troubled teens to get on track.
We've been to so many middle schools and churches to talk to youth, and I love doing it. It's my chance to give back and say, hey, look, I went down these bumpy roads. You don't have to. Let me help you not make these bad choices that I made.
The father of 7 also employs other felons at his Georgetown shop because a second chance after prison is hard to come by.
It's my long-term goal is to eventually build my own barber and beauty school and maybe a couple other barber shops just to give some people somewhere to work.
It's more than just a cut. It's a lifesaver. In Georgetown, Darrenisha Heron, KVU News.
So how's the
It's a lifesaver, Dr. Brenda. It's more than just a haircut. It's more than just a beauty and barber service. We are more than just, let me stop sharing my screen. We are more than just people that provide services. We're more than that. And this license is more important, than, just being a piece of paper on the wall. It's more important than that. This is saving us and we're saving others. And it's so much good in what we're doing, Dr. Brenda.
I totally agree. Almost, and I would say in every city, there are barbers in their city doing the same thing. Everyone has come to this in a different way. It has redeemed a lot back into their community because it saved them. It helped them to come up. It helped them to give back. And totally, I agree with the Georgetown barber. Hats off and kudos to all of those cosmetologists and barber salons that are give back in their cities. They know the importance of their licensure. And corporate businesses to come in to these small salons, mom and pop shops, that's going to hurt a lot of businesses on what they're trying to do to value the license.
Yeah. So here's another one, another article that I found, Dr. Brenda, is a barber facing $9,000 in fines from the State Board of Barber Examiners. This is over in the state of Michigan. And Owasso barber is preparing for another legal battle after keeping his business open during the pandemic. He goes on to say, they can't come in and take my livelihood. And that's what they're trying to do. This is Carl Mankey, is the barber over in Michigan. He won his first fight in October when prosecutors dropped misdemeanor charges against him for reopening his shop in defiance of Governor Gretchen Whitmer's orders. The orders were deemed unconstitutional by the state Supreme Court. Now the 78-year-old is facing thousands of dollars in fines for multiple violations, including cutting hair during a protest at the Capitol. So, we're a defiant group of people. And, one thing I can say about this industry and what I said from the very beginning, Dr. Brenda, is when this pandemic hit, we were prepared. We understand health and safety and sanitation and infection control. That's the foundation of our learning. That is what we're taught, first and foremost. So when this pandemic came upon us in 2020, I kept saying, we can do it. And I knew we could do it. He's saying that, he was going to do it, and he did. I can tell you, like I said, we're a defiant bunch of people, some of us in this industry. You nod. Can you hear me, Dr. Brenda?
Yes, indeed.
Yep. Another bill,
yes,
a proposed bill that could help domestic violence and sexual assault victims by going to the salon. This is over in Odessa, Texas. This is an article I found. House Bill 404. House Bill 404 proposed during the 87th legislative session would require hairstylists and cosmetologists to take a domestic violence and sexual assault awareness course as part of their license renewal process. Goes on to say Elizabeth, Texas area with the crisis of West Texas says hairstylists and cosmetologists can be the best people to spot a victim of abuse because they can see changes in their clients over a period of time. And sometimes they're the only person an abuser will let them see. The article goes on to say, she says that making a domestic violence and sexual assault awareness course mandatory could help in saving victims across the state. So this is some proposed legislation over in the state of Texas, and then we'll wrap it up with this one, Dr. Brenda. Ohio is where you are. This is a bill over in the great state of Ohio. It says the new bill would reduce license requirements for cosmetologists and barbers. So this Ohio lawmakers are considering a bill that would reduce the number of hours required to become a licensed cosmetologist or barber. It's an issue that's been debated in legislature for years. Republican Senator Christina Regoner says reducing the required hours of training to become a cosmetologist or barber lowers the hurdles for a person wanting to join the profession in Ohio. Goes on to say individuals that want to work, a lot of them would be single moms, and they want to be able to get a job and not have to incur this excessive amount of tuition. Goes on to say currently to get a license, a barber needs 1,800 hours of training and a cosmetologist requires 1,500 hours of training. The bill will cut the hours for both professions to 1,000 hours. Similar legislation has been introduced in the past, drawing support from salons and opposition from cosmetology schools. So that's your state, Dr. Brenda. What are y'all doing in Ohio? What's going on?
We are fighting. We are opposing these bills. This is House bill right now. It's 133, and it's been proposed over and over, and we've opposed it over and over. And right now, Ohio requires they want to get the 1,000 hours. There's 2 states that require 1,000 hours. Reciprocity comes into play when your state reduces hours and you go to another state and get hours. What's happening is legislation is trying to go from state to state. Right now, West Virginia, Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, and Pennsylvania, they all have they have the hours that we have. West 1,800 hours, and they will accept of the training of 25 hours to reduce. The Michigan is 1,500 hours, Indiana is 1,500 hours, Kentucky is 1,500 hours, and Pennsylvania is 1,250. Now, those 4 states feel that 1,000 hours is sufficient.
I think we lost Dr. Brenda. Let me. And I got back noise. I can tell you technology today has not been our friend. We've had all kinds of technical difficulties with the broadcast today, but I want to thank you for joining us, Dr. Brenda. I think she might be back. Let's see. She's back. 1 second. Let's see if we can get her back into the broadcast. Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm back in the broadcast. Got knocked off for some reason, but Ohio is one of the states that a lot of the other states watch when it comes to legislation and change. There's 2 states that have reduced their hours to 1,000. We're fighting that Ohio does not set precedent in reducing hours to 1,000. It's going to hurt those that want to go into another state that's requiring more hours for reciprocity. So we're fighting, and those that are in West Virginia, Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, and Pennsylvania, you better look out. Check out your legislation and see who's proposing the reduction of hours in your states. This is trying to go from state to state, reducing the hours. That is devaluing education. I mean, okay, now here's our industry experts. When testimony was given for this, and on the 24th of March, there was testimony given because of Senator Rogner proposing bringing this bill in. Testimony was given on reciprocity, the financial aid, the industry experts, the public school and education, and the private schools that have the career schools. There were different testimonies giving their for or against what's going on, and it's a fight right now.
And I think it's a sad fight. I think it's a sad fight, Dr. Brenda, because too few beauty and barber professionals are engaged in the battle. And if we're not engaged in the battle, it becomes a fight between those who want to eat off our plates. And that's the saddest part of these battles between the manufacturers, the schools, the business owners. You know, we have these entities that don't actually provide services, that none of them can do anything really without us. Like, we're the foundation of their business, of what they're doing. So, but like I said, the saddest part is that we don't have a voice in this legislation.
And that's where you have to get involved. As much as Public Beauty and Barber is trying to engage states to look into their legislation, look into their state boards to see what's going on, you have to get involved, because it's coming down the pipe that hours are trying to be reduced statewide. And it's important to get involved. It's important to pursue.
And beauty and barber professionals have to understand that this is the money in their pockets. Like, this is how you are feeding your families. These are dollars that, you know, should be coming back to you in some form or another. Like, this all works hand in hand with what you're able to make and charge, and who you're able to be in this industry. And I know people tend to think, well, I can do it, you know, and this is where we take this individual approach. And this is why I've always kind of never really liked these competitions, these barber battles and these beauty competitions. I never really liked them because it tends to separate us in our thinking, instead of saying, what do we do that will bring us together and we can collaborate. And this is where, you know, when it comes to policy, collaboration is what's going to save us in this industry. We have to collaborate with other states, and that's what our efforts have always been about. Like, I'm here in Georgia, we got Pennsylvania, we got Texas, we got California. We have all these states where we have members, and our goal has always been to collaborate our efforts to maintain our industry.
Correct. We have to. It's a necessary medium. And talk with your state representatives. Let them know you're opposed to the proposed bills and legislation that's going to affect this industry, beauty and barber industry.
Yep.
Get involved.
Yep. And yep, exactly. We're almost at the half hour, Dr. Brenda. I want to thank you for coming on. I know we had all kind of crazy technical difficulties this afternoon with this broadcast, but we're intentional, we're in deliberate, and we're going to continue to bring you up to date, beauty and barber professionals. We're going to continue to bring you up to date, current news, information that's happening in the beauty and barber industry, and join us. This is about us coming together and, like I said, collaborating as one industry around our issues and protecting our professional license and demanding that we have higher standards that will substantiate us as professionals. So Dr. Brenda, it will be the same time next week, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook and YouTube.
And did we mention the upcoming industry?
Oh,
The
yes.
industry for
Industry
Beauty and
Day.
Barber.
Yes, Industry Day, everybody, is June 14th. Please go to the website and register. Of course, the website is politicsbeautybarber.org. Dr. Brenda will be bringing us some phenomenal historical information. She's our industry historian. She knows stuff that we wouldn't even, we have no clue about. We'll have a lot of great speakers that day from 11 a.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. A lot of great speakers. So join us. Go to the website, politicsbeautybarber.org. Thank you, Dr. Brenda.
Great to be here.
Yes. Have a great week,
Wonderful
everybody.
day.
Yes. Amen.